Hello students and Namaste everyone. I am Dhaval sir and I welcome you all to the online session of Vidyadhish Vidya Sankul School. Students, today in our lecture we are going to discuss your standard 8th literature part, chapter number 1, part 2. Okay, and the name of the chapter is The Best Christmas Present in the World by Michael Morpurgo. Okay. In our first part, we had discussed about the introduction of the chapter, then the detailed summary of the chapter was explained to you, okay, and then we had discussed the first part of the chapter. As I told you in the earlier lecture that this chapter is divided into 3 parts, okay. The first part wherein the writer Michael Morpurgo purchases the roll top desk, okay, and how he repairs the roll top desk, how he finds the letter from the desk, and the description regarding the letter is given in the second part, okay. So first part was already discussed by us in the first part of the chapter, first part of the lecture. Today in this second part of the lecture we are going to discuss the second and the third part. In the second part, the letter written by Jim McPherson for his wife Connie is given, okay, and the third part, okay, and the third part is regarding the letter which was read by Michael Morpurgo. So in the third part he decides to approach Connie and hand over the letter to her, okay. So that will be discussed in the third part. So let us begin with the second part, which is the letter of Jim McPherson. Okay, fine. So here we go. Dearest Connie, I write to you in a much happier frame of mind, okay, because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about at once. So what I here means Jim McPherson, okay. So what Jim McPherson is writing, that I write to you in much happier frame of mind. Much happier frame of mind means he is trying to say that he is very happy when he is writing this letter, okay. Why he is very happy? Because he says that something wonderful has just happened, okay, and he wants to share that thing what had happened to him, okay. So what he is writing, that I must tell you about it at once, okay. So further is describing what happened or what wonderful thing had happened. We were all standing to in our trenches yesterday, okay, morning. So actually this letter is written on 26th December 1914, okay, and the description what is giving about the letter, right, what all events happened, what is mentioned in the letter happens on the day of Christmas, that is 25th December 1914. So what he is writing, that we were all standing to in our trenches yesterday morning, Christmas morning, right. So it is mentioned over there. So standing to, what does that mean? Taking a position. And we all know that usually at the border the soldiers or the officers, they are given their positions, they need to stick to their position, okay. So what is writing, we were all standing to, that means we were all in our position, okay, in our trenches. Now trenches means what? Long deep ditches, okay, in the ground where soldiers hide from the enemy, okay. If I'll give you an example, if you have seen the movie Border, okay, so while the war is going on, the soldiers, they are standing in their trenches and they are firing, okay. Hindi we say gadda, okay. So it is a kind of ditch where the soldiers usually stand, okay, to protect themselves from the enemy, okay. Next line, it was crisp and quiet all about, okay. Crisp means clean and smooth. That means on the day of Christmas at the morning time, okay, it was very crisp and clear. That means totally peace and calmness everywhere, okay. As beautiful a morning as I have ever seen, as cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. Frosty means very cold. So this chapter, okay, includes the story about a Christmas time, and the place where it is mentioned is Britain, okay, at the border of Britain and Germany, and these are the European countries where there is extreme cold in winter, okay. So he's saying that the morning was crisp and clear, okay, totally calm, and it was frosty, that means it was very cold. I should like to be able to tell you that we began it, but the truth I am ashamed to say is that Fritz began it, okay. So here the word Fritz means it is a common name given to the German soldiers, and one more name is mentioned, that is Tommy. So Tommy is a common name usually used for the British soldiers, okay. So here in this paragraph, okay, the writer is saying that I should like to be able to tell you that we began it. That means he is trying to say that the wonderful thing what happened was that the opposite side, that is the enemy soldiers, they began it. What did they begin? That means he is trying to say that they, that is the German soldiers, they initiated a peaceful moment, right? They initiated the conversation with us, and he is saying that I am ashamed to tell you that they began it and we didn't start, okay. That means he is trying to say that the German soldiers, they initiated means they started a communication with us for peace, which actually we should have started but we did not, okay. So that is what he is saying. Fritz began it. First someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite, okay. So opposite side the German soldiers are there, and again to the opposite side the British soldiers are there. So the British soldiers from their trenches could see from the opposite side, that is from the German side, white color flag. Now what does white color symbolize, right? So white color usually symbolizes peace, okay. And when someone shows white flag, that means they are trying to say that we want peace, we don't want to fight, okay. Moving further, then they were calling out to us from across no man's land, right? So here we need to understand what is no man's land, okay. So usually at the border, okay, again you might have seen in the movies, okay, I'll give you the best example for this. You might have seen the movie Bajrangi Bhaijaan, okay. So in that at last, okay, in the last scene you might have observed that the Indian soldiers, Indian border is here, here is the Pakistan's border, okay, and between both the borders there is a land, okay, which is no man's land. That means in that no man's land neither Indians have control, neither Pakistan they have their control. It is a no man's land. That means it is a common land, okay, not belonging to anyone, okay. It is a common land which does not belong to particularly Indians or to the Pakistanis. So what is written? That then they were calling out to us from across no man's land, Happy Christmas, okay. That means the German soldiers, they were greeting the British soldiers, and what they were greeting, they were saying Happy Christmas, because it was a Christmas day. Happy Christmas, Tommy, Happy Christmas. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back, okay. When we had got over the surprise, that means when the German soldiers greeted the British soldiers with Happy Christmas, first of all they were surprised. Why? Because we don't expect our enemies to greet us in any way, right? But as they were greeting the British soldiers, they were first of all surprised, okay. Then later on some of the soldiers from the British army also shouted back. What they are saying? Same to you, Fritz, same to you, okay. I thought that would be that. I thought that would be that. That would be that phrase means that was all, okay. That was the end of the matter. That means Jim McPherson, who was the British officer, he thought that here the conversation will come to an end and everything will be over, okay. We all did. That means both the armies greeted each other, and that's it. Everything means Jim McPherson thought that it's over now, okay. But then suddenly one of them was up, That means he came out from his trench. Okay, there in his grey coat. So grey coat is usually worn by the German soldiers, and the khaki color coat is worn by the British soldiers. So grey color coat and waving a white flag. That means the German soldier, he came out from his trench, he was waving the white color flag. Don't shoot, lads. Okay, so he's trying to say that my dear friends, please don't shoot me. Okay, someone shouted and no one did. That means when he came out of his trench and when he was moving towards the no man's land, okay, as he had white flag, no one shooted him. Okay, then there was another Fritz up on the parapet. Okay, parapet means usually a small wall which is created at the surface. Usually when we go to the terrace, there are small heighted walls which are known as parapet. The meaning is given over here. A low wall at the edge of a platform, roof or a bridge. Okay, that is known as parapet. So then there was another Fritz up on the parapet and another. Okay, keep your heads down, I told the men. That means Jim was the officer of the British army. From the opposite side, that is from the German army, the soldiers, they were coming up and out from their trenches. So therefore Jim told their soldiers, okay, what did he told? I told them, okay, that keep your heads down. That means he told his soldiers, because he was the officer, so he told his soldiers that you just keep your heads down, don't try to stand up, because Jim at the beginning thought it was a kind of a trick. Okay, they are trying to trick them and later on they will attack them, but it wasn't. That means nothing as such happened. Okay, moving further, one of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. It is Christmas day, Tommy, we have schnapps. Okay, schnapps is a kind of a drink which is made from grains and which is usually drunk in Germany. Okay, we have sausage. Sausage, the picture is already given to you over here. It is a kind of a dish. Okay, so first we'll read out the meanings. Schnapps means a German drink made from grain, that I've already explained it to you. Then sausage, it is a kind of a non-veg dish. Okay, it is a meat product usually made from ground meat, often pork. Pork means what? Flesh of a pig. Then beef. Beef means flesh of a cow. Ox, used as a food, or poultry along with salt, spices and other flavorings. Okay, so this is how sausage is made. Okay, so what the Germans are saying, that we have schnapps, we have sausage, we meet you. That is, they are trying to ask a question. Yes, okay, that means can we meet? Okay, so this is what the question the Germans are asking to the Britishers. Okay, by this time there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land and not a rifle between them. That means the British and the German army, they were at war. We are talking about the time when there was when the First World War was started. Okay, and as they were in a situation of war. Okay, so this was the time of Christmas when the soldiers, they wanted peace. Okay, so what is written, that a lot of men, they were walking towards us across no man's land, and though there was a time of war, but as they wanted peace, they did not have any kind of arms or ammunition or rifle with them. Okay, so further, Little Private Morris was the first up. Okay, so from the British army, Morris, this is the name of a soldier. Okay, Little Private Morris was the first up. That means he was the first to stood up from the British army. And what did he say? Come on boys, what are we waiting for? And then there was no stopping them. I was the officer. I here means Jim McPherson. So even from the British army, right, all the soldiers, they were moving towards the no man's land. Okay, and no one was there to stop them. I should have stopped them there and then. That means at that very moment and that place only, what Jim McPherson is saying, that I should have stopped them. Okay, but the truth is that it never even occurred to me I should. That means Jim McPherson is saying that I did not feel like stopping them, because from the opposite side the soldiers, they were trying to make peace. Okay, they were not in the mood of attack. All along their line and ours, I could see men walking slowly towards one another. Grey coats, khaki coats, meeting in the middle. Meeting in the middle, that means in the no man's land. Okay, and I was one of them. That means even he also participated in that meet. Okay, I was part of this. In the middle of the war, we were making peace. Okay, so as I told you that it was war time, and during this war time, both the army soldiers, they were trying to make peace with each other. So it is a very big moment. Okay, next paragraph. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer. Now that means the Jim McPherson and the German officer, they are so close to each other that they could even have a look at each other's eyes. Okay, and what he is saying, that you cannot imagine also. That means it was such a moment which Jim might have never thought of in his life. Okay, who approached me, hands outstretched. Hands outstretched means like this. Okay, Hans Wolf, he said. That means the German soldier, he came in front of Jim McPherson, he stretched his hands out and is trying to introduce himself as Hans Wolf. Okay, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. Now further what Hans Wolf is saying, I am from Düsseldorf. So this is the name of a place, okay, in Germany. I play the cello in the orchestra. Okay, so this is the picture of cello. It is a kind of musical instrument like a violin, large violin. Okay, so what he is saying, that I play cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas, Captain Jim McPherson, I replied. Okay, so that fellow is greeting him with Happy Christmas, and on the opposite side even Jim McPherson is introducing himself, that I am Captain Jim McPherson. Okay, and a Happy Christmas to you too. What is he saying? And a Happy Christmas to you too. I am a school teacher from Dorset in the west of England. Now this is the introduction given by Jim McPherson. One is a person who belongs to orchestra, one is a teacher. So how is it possible that both of them they are in the army? Right. So usually what happens during the time of war, if there is a need or if the need arises, okay, even the civilians, we all are the civilians who don't belong to army, we general people, right? So even the civilians, they are called for, or even they are told to join the army when there is a need. Okay. Dorset, he smiled. I know this place. I know it very well. We shared my rum, ration and his excellent sausage. That means we shared my here means Jim McPherson. Okay, rum again is a kind of a drink. Okay, so what he is saying, rum, ration. Okay, so the things what Jim McPherson was having, okay, he shared with Hans Wolf, who was the German officer. Okay, and his excellent sausage. That means the sausage which was brought by Hans Wolf. And we talked, Connie, have we talked? Okay, that means he is trying to say that we just talked with each other in a very normal way. Okay, there was nothing as such different. Okay, normally the communication, how does it take place? In the same way we had a just normal talk. Okay, he spoke almost perfect English, but it turned out that he had never set foot in Dorset, never even been to England. That means he is trying to say that though he was not an Englishman, he spoke perfectly well in English, because usually what happens, the British English is the nicest or the perfect English with proper grammatical language, and usually the English spoken in the different countries differ from each other. I'll give you one example. Let us speak about the American English. Okay, so American English is not too good because they don't emphasize more on the grammatical part. They speak English, but the grammar is very weak. Okay, and they don't give importance to the grammar while they speak. Okay, so that's it. Moving further, he had learned all he knew of English from school and from reading books in English. So he is giving the reason that how Hans Wolf was able to speak English very well, right? So this is how he could speak English well. His favorite writer was Thomas Hardy. His favorite book from the Madding Crowd. Okay, the name of the book is Madding Crowd, and that book was written by Thomas Hardy. Okay, so out there in no man's land, we talked about Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak. So these are the characters of the story or the story book which they read. Okay, and Sergeant Roy and Dorset. Okay, he had a wife. He here means Hans Wolf, who was the German soldier. Had a wife and one son. Okay, born just 6 months ago. As I looked about me, there were huddles of khaki and grey everywhere. As I looked about me. Okay, that means when he is looking at the other side, okay, he is finding huddles of grey and khaki coat. So huddles means a group of people. That means there were a lot of group, okay, of khaki color coats and the grey color coats. Okay, everywhere, all over no man's land, smoking and laughing and talking and drinking, eating. Okay, so this was how they were celebrating the Christmas. Hans Wolf and I shared what was left of your wonderful Christmas cake. Okay, your here means Connie. So Jim McPherson is trying to say that the cake which you had sent for me was shared by me and Hans Wolf. Okay, he thought, okay, what was left of your wonderful Christmas cake, Connie? He thought the marzipan. Now the marzipan is a kind of a sweet dish, a sweet covering on a cake made from sugar, eggs and almond. So it is a kind of a sweet dish. Okay, so what he is saying, he thought that the marzipan was the best he had ever tasted. That means the sweet which was sent by Connie for his husband Jim McPherson was tasted by Hans Wolf, who was the German officer, and he found this dish the most tastiest dish ever. Okay, I agreed. We agreed about everything, and he was my enemy. Right? There never was a Christmas party like it, Connie. That means through this lines, Jim McPherson is trying to say that everything was common between us. There was as such no difference between both of us. Okay, and like a normal person, we both agreed with each other on everything. Why he is saying like this? Because they both were actually belonging to the opposite or the enemy armies, and usually the enemies, they don't agree with each other on any matter. Okay, moving further. Then someone, I don't know who, brought out a football. Okay, someone brought out the football. Grey coats were dumped in piles. Piles means daglo. Okay, so when things they are lying on one another, a pile is formed. Okay, so one pile of grey coats was formed here, another was formed here, and the area between was the goal post. Okay, so grey coats were dumped in piles to make goal posts, and the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Fritz. That means they were going to have the football match between the British army and the German army out in the middle of no man's land. Hans Wolf and I looked on and cheered. That means they were looking at the soldiers playing the football match, and they both were cheering each other's team. Okay, clapping our hands and stamping our feet to keep the cold as much as to keep out the cold. Okay, to keep out the cold as much as anything. That means, as in the introductory part I told you that they are belonging to the European countries where there is extreme cold, okay, in the winters, and therefore by stamping their feet and clapping their hands, they are trying to be out of the cold. Okay, there was a moment when I noticed our breaths mingling in the air between us. So we are well aware that usually when there is too much cold, when we speak out or when we breathe out, okay, a kind of fog or smoke is created. So they both were so close to each other that their air which they were exhaling out, they both were mingling. That means they were getting together. Okay, he saw it too and smiled. That means when they are both looking at it, they both are smiling at each other. Jim McPherson, he said after a while, I think this is how we should resolve. Okay, this is how we should resolve this war. That means he is trying to say that the situation at that time was of war situation, and we all know that during the war there is totally destruction, nothing else. Loss of property, loss of life, and everything is destroyed. Okay, so what Hans Wolf is trying to say, Jim McPherson, is that we should resolve war by playing matches like football and cricket. And why he is saying like that? Because he is trying to say that by playing games like this, okay, we'll get the winner, and even there will be no loss or damage of property or person. Okay, so we'll read out. No one dies in a football match. No children are orphaned. Orphaned means anath. No wives become widow. Widow means vidwa. Okay, a woman who loses the husband. So that woman is known as widow. I would prefer cricket. Okay, so these are the wordings of Jim McPherson. Why he is saying that? Because he is an Englishman, and we know very well that the English people, they are very good at playing cricket, and the Germans, they are very good at playing football. Okay, I'll give you one more example. If you might have watched the movie Lagan, okay, in that Indians are playing the cricket match with the Englishmen or the Britishers. So what Jim McPherson is saying, that I would prefer cricket, then with Thomas could be sure of winning, probably. That means he is saying that if football match is being played, then the Germans are having a great chance of winning. But if there is a cricket match, then there are chances that the Britishers will win the match. Okay, we laughed at that, and together we watched the game. Sad to say, Connie, Fritz won. That means Jim McPherson is saying that I am very sad to tell you that we lost the football match. Okay, 2-1. That means the Germans, they scored 2 goals, and we Britishers could score only 1 goal. Okay, but as Hans Wolf generously said, our goal was wider than theirs, so it wasn't quite fair, right? So at that moment, Hans Wolf and Jim McPherson were like friends, and they had great generosity for each other. Okay, and therefore Hans Wolf is saying that no, this was not a fair result, because I believe that our goalpost means where we had to score the goal was bigger, and therefore it was quite easy for us to score the goal. Okay, so that is what Hans Wolf is saying to Jim McPherson. Okay, moving further. The time came, and all too soon, when the game was finished, the schnapps, the rum, and the sausage had long since run out. Long since run out means finished. Okay, everything was completely finished, and we knew it was all over. I wished Hans well and told him I hoped he would see his family again soon, that the fighting would end and we could all go home. So through this line we can understand that how the soldiers at the borders are willing to meet their families, and on the opposite side even the families of the soldiers are longing to meet their child. That might be the father, the son, okay, or the husband of someone, okay, who is fighting for the country at the border. I think that is what every soldier wants on both the sides, right? That means he is trying to say that every soldier just wants peace. They don't want to fight with each other, okay? Hans Wolf said, "Take care, Jim McPherson. I shall never forget this moment, nor you." So Hans Wolf was equally happy, and he was so sure that this moment was such a great moment that he would not forget that moment, and he is very sure that even Jim will never forget this moment in his life. Okay, he saluted and walked away from me slowly. Unwillingly, I felt, that means Jim McPherson is saying that he felt that even Hans Wolf didn't want to part away. He didn't want to go away. He just wanted to have such a kind of peaceful atmosphere. Okay, he turned to wave just once. That means he turned to wave just once. Okay, and then became one of the hundreds of grey-coated men drifting back towards their trenches. Drifting means a slow and gradual movement from one place to another. That means hundreds of grey coats, they were moving towards their trenches, and Hans Wolf was one of them. Okay, fine. Next paragraph. That night, back in our dugouts. Now again, dugouts means a shelter for soldiers made by digging a hole in the ground and covering it. Okay, so usually dugouts are there where the soldiers are staying to protect themselves from the enemies. we heard them singing a carol. Now carol is a song which is usually sung at the time of Christmas by a group of people, okay, and singing it quite beautifully. It was Stille Nacht, okay, it was Stille Nacht, okay, silent night, okay. So what is written over here? Our boys gave them a rousing chorus of while shepherds watched. That means Jim McPherson is saying that when the German soldiers they were singing carols, our boys, that means the British soldiers, they were rousing. Rousing means causing great emotion, excitement and enthusiasm. That means they were trying to encourage them, okay, by giving background music and also singing with them. Chorus means a large group of singers, okay. So from the opposite side the German soldiers were singing, from this side the British soldiers, they joined them in the singing the carols. They were giving them background music, they were enjoying, and on the other end the shepherds were listening to them, okay. We exchanged carols for a while and then we all fell silent. We had our time of peace and goodwill, a time I will treasure as long as I live, okay. Treasure means something that is very special, important or valuable. So Jim McPherson is trying to say that that was the moment which was so valuable, so important, that I will always remember and appreciate that, okay. Whenever I'll remember about that moment, I will always feel happy, okay. Dearest Connie, so this is the last paragraph of the letter. So what he is writing: dearest Connie, by Christmas time next year, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible memory. So he is hoping that till next year the war will come to an end and this will be just a bad memory, okay. I know from all that happened today how much both the armies long for peace. Long here means desire. We shall be together again soon, I am sure of it. That means he is trying to say that next year I wish that we both will meet each other, okay. So here the letter gets over and it is written, your loving Jim, okay. So this is what the letter was written by Jim McPherson to his wife Connie. So here it gets over and the third part of the chapter begins, okay, wherein the writer Michael Morpurgo is trying to hand over the letter to Connie, okay, for whom the letter was written by his husband Jim McPherson. So let us begin with the third part. I folded the letter again. Now I here means writer or the author Michael Morpurgo, okay. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope, okay. I kept awake all night. That means the writer, when he read the letter, okay, he could not sleep for the whole night, okay. He was emotional about the letter. By morning I knew what I had to do. I drove into Bridport, okay. Bridport is the place where Jim McPherson's house was there and where Connie used to live, just a few miles away. I asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beaches was. That means he is trying to find out the address where Connie lives, okay. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell. Burned out means destroyed by fire, okay. That means when writer Michael Morpurgo reaches or approaches the house of Connie, it was totally burnt out, okay. The roof gaping, the windows boarded up. Boarded up means covered with wooden boards, okay. I knocked at the house next door. That means he tried to go and ask the neighbor if anyone knew the whereabouts of Mrs. McPherson. Whereabouts of Mrs. McPherson. So whereabout means the location of a person, that where is she living at present, okay. Oh yes, said the old man in his sleepers. That means the neighbor, he is saying that, oh yes, I know where Mrs. McPherson is living right now, okay. So what he is saying, he knew her well. A lovely old lady, he told me, a bit muddled headed. Muddled headed means confused, okay. So at the time when writer Michael Morpurgo is meeting the neighbor, okay, Connie had turned out to be the age of 101 year old. And usually we all know that when a person becomes very old, he gets the habit of forgetting things and usually getting confused. Okay. So what is saying that a muddle-headed, but at her age she was entitled to be, wasn't she? That means the neighbor is trying to say that the age, okay, what means at the age of 101 where she is living, okay, she is for sure going to have this kind of problem, okay, doesn't she? That means he is trying to ask that do you believe the same thing? Okay, 101 years old, okay, she had been in the house when it caught fire. So the neighbor is saying that the house, when it caught fire, Connie was inside the house only. Okay, no one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. So the neighbor is assuming that no one perfectly knows, or no one exactly knows how the fire took place, but he is assuming that the fire might have taken place because of the candles. Okay, she used candles rather than electricity. Why she used candles? The reason is given because she always thought electricity was too expensive. Okay, the fireman had got her out just in time. That means here we can understand that if at proper time she was not removed from the house, even she might have burnt in the fire. Okay, she was in a nursing home now, he told me, Burlington house on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. So the neighbor gives the address where Connie was at present. Okay. Then further what is happening? The writer Michael Morpurgo is trying to find out that address. Okay. I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. There were paper chains up in the hallway and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a loop-sided angle. Loop-sided angle means bending towards one side. The meaning is already given, leaning to one side. Okay, so the Christmas tree was not standing straight, it was leaning. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. McPherson to bring her a Christmas present. So when he reached the nursing home, they might have asked the reason that who are you and why you are here. At that time he is saying that I am a friend to Mrs. McPherson and I have come to meet her with a present, that is a Christmas present. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing because it was a Christmas day. Okay, when writer Michael Morpurgo is visiting the nursing home to hand over the letter to Mrs. McPherson, that is Connie, it was a Christmas day and all the people at the nursing home, they were wearing the hat and they were singing and dancing and enjoying the day. Okay, the Martin means the lady who is working at the nursing home, okay, had a hat on too and seemed happy enough to see me. Okay, so the lady at the nursing home, she was very happy to find Michael Morpurgo at the nursing home. Okay, she even offered me a mince pie. So what is mince pie? This is a mince pie. It is a kind of a sweet dish. Okay, fine. She walked me along the corridor. That means she told Michael Morpurgo to walk along with her towards the corridor. Mrs. McPherson is not in with the others, she told. Okay, the Martin, that is the lady, what did she say? That Mrs. McPherson is not with others because the others, they were enjoying in the room outside. Okay, she is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. That means she was not well and therefore the people at the nursing home, they might have decided to give her a proper rest. She has no family, you know, no one visits. So I am sure she will be only too pleased to see you. That means the lady is saying that she doesn't have any family, no one visits her or no one comes to meet her, but as you have come today, she will be very happy, she will be pleased. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. Okay, so the lady, she took her writer into conservatory. Now what is conservatory? Okay, the picture I have already placed over here. Okay, the meaning is a room with a glass roof and walls attached to house on one side and used as a sun lounge or for growing delicate plants. So here you can see houses there, along with this a kind of roof is attached with glasses, and a person can sit, and also the pots can be placed. Okay, fine. So this is conservatory with wicker chairs. This is a wicker chair. Okay, wicker means what? A natural material traditionally made from woven branches or reeds. Okay, and is used for making baskets and lightweight furniture. Usually we have seen the baskets, so it is made from wicker. Okay, fine. So what he is saying that she took me to the conservatory and then she left away. Okay. Next, the old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, her hands folded in her lap. Okay. So what happened? Her laps folded in her lap. She had silver white hair pinned into a wispy bun. So as she was 101 years old, okay, and we all know that as and when the age keeps on going, the hair becomes thin and thinner. Okay, so the bun means the round folding of hair, and it had become wispy. Wispy means very thin. The bun was very small. Okay, she was gazing out at the garden. That means she was looking at the garden side. Okay. Hello, I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. Okay, so what did Connie do? Right? She looked at him. That is at the writer Michael Morpurgo. Okay, so as I went on. I found this. That means now the writer is saying, okay, she looked at me vacantly. Vacantly means what? She was absolutely absent-minded. That means she didn't know who is the opposite person and why he was here. Okay. Happy Christmas, Connie, I went on. That means the writer said Happy Christmas to Connie and he kept on talking. What did he say? I found this. I think it's yours. As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. That means Connie was continuously looking at the writer's face. Okay. I opened the tin box and give it to her. That means the box which he had found in the drawer, okay, that is in the secret drawer, that same tin box is handing it over to Connie, which actually belonged to her only. That was the moment her eyes lit up. Okay, lit up means it became happier, means the eyes became brighter. The meaning is given, became bright with happiness, excitement. Okay, so when she saw the tin box, she realized that it was the same tin box which it belonged to her. Okay, and there was a happiness which could be seen in her eyes. Okay, with recognition, and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. So that is what I said. She recognized that this box actually belonged to herself, and therefore there was a big smile on her face. I explained about the desk, about how I had found it out, but I don't think she was listening. Okay, so she was just looking at the box, and the writer was quite giving the explanation, but Connie was not interested in that. Okay, for a while she said nothing but stroked the letter. Stroking means doing like this. Tenderly. Tenderly means delicately or gently. Okay, with her fingertips like this. Okay, fine. Moving further. Suddenly she reached out and took my hands. That means she came closer to the writer and she held the hands of the writer. Okay, her eyes were filled with tears. Right? You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest, she said, and here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim, dear, sit down. Now, this is the most important paragraph of this chapter. Okay, so through this paragraph we can understand that when the writer Michael Morpurgo is giving the tin box to her, she misunderstood that writer or the visitor to be her husband, Jim McPherson. Okay, and she felt that it is actually his husband, her husband, who had come to meet her on the day of Christmas as promised in the letter, and she feels that this is the reunion of the husband and wife, and therefore she considers this as the best Christmas present ever. Okay, I'll explain this thing in Gujarati also because it is very very important. Okay, or I'll use the Hindi language. So इस पैराग्राफ में क्या हो रहा है कि कॉनी, ओके, कॉनी जो है उसने अपने हाथ में जो बॉक्स लिया और उसको लगा कि जो विजिटर, जो राइटर है, जो उसको लेटर देने आया है, वो एक्चुअली उसका हस्बैंड है, बट एक्चुअली वो उसका हस्बैंड नहीं था. ओके, एंड एज आई टोल्ड दैट शी मिसअंडरस्टूड हिम टू बी हर हस्बैंड. ओके, एंड उसको ऐसा लगता है कि ये उसका हस्बैंड है, बट एक्चुअली में वो उसका हस्बैंड नहीं था, और उसको लग रहा है कि जैसे उसको लेटर के अंदर उसके हस्बैंड जिम मैकपर्सन ने प्रॉमिस किया था कि वो नेक्स्ट ईयर क्रिसमस के दिन उसको मिलने आएगा, एंड एज इट वाज द क्रिसमस डे शी फेल्ट दैट कि उसका हस्बैंड उसको एक्चुअली मिलना है. सो दिस वाज जस्ट अ काइंड ऑफ कन्फ्यूजन एंड मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग बाय कॉनी. ओके, इन एक्चुअल सेंस he was not his husband. Okay, he was just the visitor who had come to give away the letter. Fine, so that's it. Moving to the next paragraph. I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. I read your letter so often, Jim. This is what Connie is trying to tell the opposite person, that I kept on reading your letter every day. Okay, I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always made me feel you were with me. That means when she used to read the letter, she always felt the presence of her husband with her. Okay, and now you are. That means now you are in front of me. You are back. You can read it to me yourself. That means she's trying to say that now, as you are present in front of me, you read this letter yourself, and I will hear it. Okay. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? I just want to hear your voice again. Okay, I would love that so much. That means Connie is saying that if you will read out the letter for me, I will love this thing a lot, and then perhaps we will have some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake. That means Connie is trying to say that I have prepared a Christmas cake for you. Okay, marzipan all around. Okay, that means Christmas cake and marzipan and all the things whatever you like. Okay, I know how much you love marzipan. Okay, what she is saying, that I know how much you love marzipan. So this is how Connie misunderstood the writer or the author Michael Morpurgo to her husband Jim McPherson, and she just remembers that her husband Jim McPherson had written in the letter that I will come next year on the same day and we will be together, and she is considering this meeting to be that meeting because it was on the same Christmas day, and therefore Connie becomes happy. Okay, and the chapter gets over here only by misunderstanding of Connie. And that's it for today. I'll end the lecture over here, and I hope so that the chapter was clear to you all. So thank you everyone for listening to me. Stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.